Welcome everyone to our weekly meetup. And today's meetup, Engineer Abdullah Al-Khwaifi will give us a code lab about Dart language. Just a quick brief about Engineer Abdullah Al-Khwaifi. He's a very experienced software engineer. You might know him if you have used applications that he uploaded, like Quran app for Android and for iPhone, and a lot of other projects. I'll leave the space for Abdullah to show us this code lab.
This is, first of all, I want to thank Ahmed for his introduction. Second thing is we have a new language now, just for called Dart. And we would like to know more about that language. I gave a talk maybe 3 months ago maybe about Dart. And it was just an introductory talk, talking about the language features. And in that time it was just a new thing. And today I think we will have a more of a hands-on talk, so we can see how we can do something with this language and what's different about it. Dart is a language developed by Google, by a team inside Google. The team itself came out from a V8 engine, which is the JavaScript optimization team. And they took JavaScript to, I think, more than 50 times in terms of speed in optimizing JavaScript for inside Chrome. And you will notice that always Chrome is much faster as a browser if you are dealing with JavaScript because of the effort of that team. That team, I think they hit some kind of a wall with JavaScript. They cannot do any optimization furthermore. So they started to work on a new language. And that language is Dart. It has a lot of JavaScript features, flexibility, that is required to deal with the web. But in the same time, it has more structure. And it can help also in optimizing and speeding up your projects and your applications. So that it has both the benefit of flexibility and speed in the same time. And it introduces also a couple of new things that are not available, that gives more power to the developers and better encapsulation of his work and organizing of his project. What we're gonna do today is, with the introduction of Dart, Google team introduced a code lab. It's a standard code lab available in the website, and we will go through that code lab. It's a very simple code lab, but it gives an idea about all the new features of that language and how does it work in a very simple single web page application. So the application target is just to fill in a name badge. And they can show you here. Maybe I'm losing the mouse. Okay. Yeah. So it's a pirate badge, and you can see there is the badge here. And you should put the UI widget here to fill in the name. Yeah. Okay. Just 1 second. I forget the record. So the project idea mainly is just to fill in the name inside that badge, and we would like to build up that project, and I'll take you now step by step through that process. The first thing that you will notice here is the environment. Dart is shipped with batteries, what we say. So Dart is shipped with an editor called Dart Editor, and that editor will come also with libraries, and we will use a couple of things, couple of libraries with that editor. Plus, it's shipped with a browser called Dartium. Okay, it's a special version of Chromium with the built-in Dart VM. Okay, so all of that is shipped with the package. If you go and hit the website, I'll show you the website. You can download all of that in a single package. So download Dart for Mac, and you can download all of that in one place. And that's actually obviously a big difference between it and JavaScript. JavaScript, you need to figure out your way at the beginning. Now, in this area, no, it's just you write your Dart code here, and you just click run, and it will run it for you inside the browser. And you don't need to do anything, just you change your code, and it will immediately affect your project. And it's a special build from Eclipse, stripped down build from Eclipse. So I'm sure people whoever dealing with Android or even PHP, you might know more about this than me. But it's a good environment, quite stable. You can get a lot of things out of it. So we start by first step is just to look at the project skeleton. So simply any project is a Dart script with an HTML page. The Dart script in this case is just an empty page. It's nothing. It's just an empty main function. And you will notice Dart is not, unlike also JavaScript. It has a starting point. JavaScript, one of the most weird things about it, it doesn't have a starting point. You don't know when does it start. That's why you usually will start your script when the document is ready. But when did the JavaScript engine start, you don't know, because every browser do it in a different way. In Dart, no, there is a starting point called main. If you know C, it's something similar to C. So, and that will help in that language. It helps in optimizing the code itself, because you know where it starts exactly. So you can remove anything else that you don't need. You can spin off all the options and all the routes and optimize the application better and better. And you will see here, this is the HTML page for that project. It's simply an HTML document with a header and a style sheet, just for giving a color and some background images. And the header here is pilot badge, as you can see from the browser. And then to do what we are asked to do, and then a couple of greetings and the badge name itself. You should fill in the name, so you should fill it here within the span. And then you will see here, this is the Dart code. So it's just requested as like JavaScript exactly. But the difference is that you will tell it it's not JavaScript, it's application Dart. And then you will call package browser dart.js. That JavaScript file will detect if your browser have a Dart VM or not. If it have Dart VM, it will run a native Dart. It will run that Dart code within the native Dart VM, or it will compile on the fly the Dart code to JavaScript and run it inside that browser. So they have also that nice idea is to even work in browsers that doesn't support Dart. Okay, so your effort will not be like lost. You will always have your browsing running your Dart. I need to add one thing here is that Dart is applying for to be an ECMA standard. So they will eventually be a standard acknowledged by a standard body as a web standard. Thus, I expect that most of the browsers will implement this language because of the features and because it's a standard. So it's expected by users. Now we'll just start by adding simple things to our application. So we'll add the widget, the thing that we want to write. So we'll add simply inside the HTML. Here we will add the input widget. So simply div, and you can see here the editor really understands HTML. And I can say here input ID and name and type. Text, and I would like to make the max lead to 15. Okay, so that's simply I'll input that name within that space. So you can see here I got the text that I need, and then to read that name, can you zoom? I think I can increase the font size.
Preferences.
I don't know how to
You can use references, editor.
This size. What do you think now? Is it better? Still small? It's more better, but it will be a bit ugly after we go beyond that. Okay? No? Huh? Okay. So basically we want to in this application just simply we want to read the text that we enter and fill it in the badge name. So we will look at how to do that. Simply we will import and then we will query, and they just simply change that. We will go for ID input name that we just name, and we will check on input. We would like to listen for that. And call a function to take it. That element. So I will update that, and then I will
Semicolon function.
so I need to create that function. So we will create that function. So it's void because this function will not return anything, and we will update. set the text to, it's a bit it's a bit it's a bit explicit, yes. We'll go through it all. So I'm sure here it's so simple. We just added an input text box, and then we added 2 lines. It's 2 lines and 1 method. We imported dart.html to get this query selector. So this simply, it's like the jQuery selector. It's like the $sign in jQuery. It's built in now in Dart. You don't need to import jQuery or anything. It comes with the language itself. You just simply put the ID, and then you capture the input event, and you pass that input event to this event handler, and you pass the event itself. And simply, if you get anything, you will take the target of that event and convert it to an input element, take its value, which is a text value, and set it to the text value for the badge name element. So that's all of it. And we run it now. And you here see that's easy. So easy. I take it and put it there. No need for Angular JS. So
It's inspired by Angular, maybe.
yes. So it's very easy. And you can see to do that in JavaScript, you need to learn a lot of magic. Here it's just 2 lines. I can show you furthermore language features. So we had this now done. We will do. We want to add a button to put a name. If you didn't put anything here, you can simply click that button and add a name to the badge. So it will suggest something to you. So we will simply go to the Dart element, and under the input name we will add a new div. And we will add dot with ID equal to and it simply says A okay, and let's see, my machine is a bit slow, but it's simply a button here. We added this, and we will change our script now to put any name if I click that button. So I can define here, and this is very important. There is a very nice scoping system in that. It's not like JavaScript. JavaScript scoping is a bit weird and quite unpredictable. Dart is have a block scopes that are clearly defined, and if you define something on the global scope, you can see it under. If you define something inside the block, it will not get out from the block into other parts of your project. So we will define a global. Element called button element. All of those elements come from Dart HTML library. You cannot use them without Dart HTML library. Those are HTML elements that are defined as classes for you to use and to change easily. And then I want to get that button, so simply I need to do when I start my application, I need to query. So, okay.
Do you have to put it inside the page or the main function?
Sorry, it should be in the main function. Okay, so and with that selector, I'm getting the button element itself, setting it to the button variable that I just created here, and then I will add the listener to if someone click on that button. I wanted to. I'm sorry, there are a lot of options on the listener. But simply, I don't want it to do anything except generate a badge for me. Okay, and I will create the generate badge. What's the meaning of that name, but Google is selecting it. So simply I will call a function called setPageName, which I'm creating right now. So set page name. It takes a string, which is a default type. You will see it's in pink. New name, and that new name will come and be set for selector. So simply I can copy that here and say okay. So that's all. And instead of having one line here that has this, I can set this to a string for the new name, and simply set I have a cleaner code. Everything is organized. Let me take that from here. Put it all under the main function. So let's say I remove that function here from here. Notice the editor will tell me, oh, okay, you are calling something that is not declared. And the editor also will check if I'm passing strings. If I set it here as a number, it will check if I'm passing a number. And all of those checks happen only in development time. On runtime, it doesn't do all of those checks. It happens on the development, only on the editor version of Dart, because you set check types, because speed is not very important for you. it doesn't do all of those type checks in the production time because checks are not that important. You want the code to run as fast as you can. So that helps a lot if you are working on a project like this. So you'll see here, like I had the listener generate a badge. The generate badge will set this name to the badge, and simply set the badge name will take the name and set it to that element. And we can run that code now. If I add, let's say Ali here, I'll get Ali. If I want to remove that, I'll put a name, I'll get a full name. If I put Ali here, again, I'll send click this, it will remove Muhammad. So my next step is just to make sure I'm not overwriting what I'm writing in the textbook. So if I input something in the textbook, I don't want it to be the button to be active. I want to disable it. So I will get, I will check if I get something from the input name, anything, I will disable the button. Okay, so that's the basic idea. So I'll check this. If I'm getting something, so I'll say if your name the trend is empty, so it checks. Okay, so I'll just take out any white spaces and check if it's an empty string. So I'm taking everything out from here. I will just disable the button. So I will say gen button, which is
no, it's not empty.
Sorry. If it's empty, I can check. Else, this is the nuts. So
the empty, you active the button.
yes. If it's not empty, I will. If it's empty, I will disable. I will active the button. Yes. If it's not empty, I will set it to the button and disable the button. So I will first of all I will disable the button. So I will set it disabled. If it's empty, disabled is false. Okay. If it's not empty, set it to this end. Disable is true. Okay. So that will give us. Let's start this. So if I look, let's say umbrella, look, disabled. Okay. Just remove it out. Okay, so you will notice here it's very helpful to deal with HTML elements as objects, as real objects, not prototype style objects in JavaScript. So look how beautiful is the disable. I think Boolean variables are not supported in JavaScript. So here's Java Dart support Boolean variables, which gives you a very easy way of dealing with true or false. And I need to mention one thing here. It's different than any other language. Everything in Dart is true. Everything, even empty string, except none and false. Okay. So
we'll have a break now.
yes, I think we will have a break. Okay. So we finished part 3 just now, and I'll show you part 4. Like we will go through it. It simply show you the power of objects and classes, the class declarations in Dart. If you love Python, you will. I think you will find Dart more interesting than Python in that area. So close that.
Double click on
So this is the Dart. This is the Dart way of declaring a class. It's simply you say class and then you type the name of your class. Here, final means it's declared once. Static means it's a class level variable, so you can call it without an instance. And here you will notice those two class variables have a underscore at the beginning, so it means they are private, obviously. So, and this is the constructor for the class. So it has a clear declared constructor, and you can optionally, which is the curly bracket, pass two variables. So you don't need to pass them. And if you don't pass them, it will work. It checks if you don't pass them, they will be null. So it checks if they are null, it will set them from a random name list. So you check here, this is the name length. It gets it in the random generator, it declared at the class level, to select a name from that name list. And it will set it to the first name, else it will take the name that you provided and it will set it for the private. And it do the same thing for the appellation. Is it right? Pronunciation? Okay. Which is, Gundler, the white, and it has this kind of style of naming, and you will see how it do the naming now. And you will see in every class you can declare toString, so it's just a conversion methods. So if you want to convert it to a string, it will return the pirate name. And the pirate name, it's a property of the class, and this is the getter for the pirate name. So simply you type the type that you want that getter to return, and then you set get, you put get, and then the name of the property, and then this means, or even this means, I'm declaring a method. And that method is a one-line method. Okay?
Ask questions if anyone has any questions.
You can clap now. So this is like, if you know C-style
Scope.
yes, scope operator, yeah. It's a similar. So
Ternary
if
complex.
the first name is empty, just return empty string, or else return, and it has some sort of PHP style templating language. Yeah. Okay. This something like this.
See how confusing this is.
Just double click on
Good. And here's the list of the name, and it's a static final list, so it doesn't, you cannot change it. And it's a class level list, so it's not on an instance level. And here's the appellations list also, the black, the diamond, jackal red, X, or beyond, or something like that. And if we run that code, it's a quite funny code actually. Okay. Cool. This is a new. Actually, I didn't know that. It runs actually some sort of a web server on port 3030. I didn't do that before. And then the package itself. Now it used to use the file direct file. Now it runs through web server. So let's say I'll put Salim. Okay, so I just change the diamond. Okay, now still he's the diamond. Yeah, the angle. Cool. So it will add that kind of, it will concatenate the variables to the name. And that is all done inside the update badge. So it will create a new pirate name, and from the string of that pirate name, it will take it like a first name, then, and the second name. And two.
Can you scroll up? Then you see gen button dot disable.
Yes.
Is there a typo or
What?
the dot?
Yeah, yeah. That's also a special feature in Dart. The property setting is a normal practice in, when you are dealing with especially HTML pages. So you will set the element, then you will put like the ID, then the class, then you will do this and that to the element itself. It has a lot of attributes and a lot of properties that you want to set on that element. So instead of writing the element variable every time, like gen button, you just put dot the first time, and you set the property. Then you put dot, it means the same element again. I want to set the text, and then you put dot, and I can check here, like I want to set the class, let's say. So I will say dot, okay, and it will give me, so what do you want to do? And let's say I want to say, I think there is,
Yeah, I think you have to delete the semicolons.
oh sorry, I need to remove the semicolon, right. Dot, class, name. Let's say I want to put it like, okay. So that's a better way of setting a lot of attributes or properties to an element or any class you want to do. I think that's all. And you'll notice here how simple it is. It's just set the badge name, pirate name. I have only the first name that I'm getting from the input, so I'll give it the first name. If the first name is empty, it will set it randomly. If it's not empty, sorry, if it's empty, it will set the name. If it's not empty, it will just enable the button, and that's all. Okay? Yeah. Let's go to the local badge, which deal with the storing.
How to deal with it?
Yes.
Local storage, huh?
Local storage. So first, I want to show you something. Here you will notice import dot math, which is a package. I think it's a library. So this is a library called dot math, and I'm only interested in random. And this very simple information helps a lot in optimizing your code, because if let's say if you are using simply like jQuery, let's say in jQuery, if you call jQuery, I want jQuery. I will download all jQuery library within my page every time. I will parse it every time I'm running that page to make sure that I have proper code. So the browser will take some time to parse jQuery, even if I'm using only one function out of the 14 functions in jQuery. Now in Dart, the beauty of Dart is that if I'm interested in something, only that thing will be included in my project. So it will be less download, it will be less parsing for your browser. So it will take less time to load. So loading time for Dart projects are much less, because you don't need to do a lot of parsing of code. You will only parse things that are required in your project because you have scoping when you are importing. So that's one thing beautiful about that. So basically, I'm creating final string treasury key, which is the key that I'm using. The browser uses key for storing data. So I think it uses a combination between the website name plus the key. You can use it to store any information for that scope. Okay. So he's just setting a global called treasury key pirate name, and then when he's creating a variable, creating a pirate name, okay, sorry, I think
Just down. Down. There, that's
yes,
Windows
yes,
level
yes.
storage.
So when he's setting the page name, sorry, not he's creating. So when he's setting the page name, he's just storing the pirate name here. Okay, so he's converting the pirate name class to a JSON string, which is just simply some sort of big link to the class itself. And the class itself, he added property to allow it to come back from, which is like what they call a factory method. So instead of creating the class from the constructor, you can create something called factory method. So it's a class level method that generate class instances for you. It's a design pattern. So there is a syntax for that in Dart. So basically you put the same as the constructor name. Then you put the method that you want to use it to create that class. And simply it will take a JSON string, it will decode it, okay, into a map, which is a dictionary. And that dictionary variables, which is F for the first name and A for the abbreviation, will be set to the private class instance, sorry, for the private instance variables.
How does it know which method to use to generate the factory? Is it by default anything from, it will use it as a generation? As a factory method?
No, you put the class name,
Dot.
dot,
And then?
the method.
Yeah, but
Inside the class.
I know, but can you have multiple methods?
Yes.
So how does it know which one is the factory method?
No, well, you'll see it here. It's using it here. Look.
Cool.
It's using it in the main get page name from storage. And where is get page name from storage? Sorry, yeah, get page name from storage. So
okay.
Windows local
So,
storage,
okay.
use the
No.
key get it,
Yeah.
and then pirate name dot. Then I will call.
So it's
The
not
factory.
it's not like a special, like there's no like it should be from and then anything and then Dart knows that this is a factory. You can put any method, you can call it ABC, and then in the method that you want to generate the objects, that's when you call it. This is the story, right?
Yes.
But you
It's
could have written this without creating a factory method.
But notice it has a U before it.
Ah, okay.
So I'm allocating a new instance.
Yeah. But I'm
Then
saying,
you will not put only the class name. You will put the class name, then the factory method. So it's a different syntax
okay.
than just a simple static method. Like the factory methods used in other
Yeah.
languages. No, here there is a clear constructor statement. I'm sure they use that for optimizing some
Yeah.
sort of thing. Okay. So look, he's using the factory method here. So it's like any constructor. If you want to construct the pirate name, you will put new, then the pirate name, then bracket after it usually. But instead of doing that, you will mention specific factory method for that. I want to construct it not from the standard first name applicant. No, I want to construct it from a JSON string. So this is the JSON string. and it will create that instance for you and return it.
Basically unpickling it. So,
Unpickling, yes. It's unpickling. But they don't, they have a pickling library, I think, but it's not so strong so far. So they use just JSON. That's local badge. If you have any question, I'm more than happy to answer.
can you serialize any object, or you have to write your own serializers?
It's actually what it's doing now.
It's just strings.
Yes. It is, what I know is like it doesn't have serialization or like Objective-C or Python, a root class where you, if you inherit from, you can automatically serialize. It doesn't have that. So basically, you can use your own serialization, and most likely it will be JSON style.
But the pilot name is a class,
Yes.
so it can serialize any object.
No, but to serialize that class, you will notice that he added himself. Because some languages, they have a serialization library that if you apply certain method within that class, you just simply call a serialization library and pass that class to it, and it will serialize it without, and it will pickle it and unpickle it. They call it pickling, which is putting it in a jar, like a pickle. So just to store it for a while and bring it back. So here, no, they wrote from JSON, so to bring it back from JSON, they wrote it themselves. And how to assign it and do all the mapping, it's all done here. And plus, JSON string, get method, is also a method that they wrote themselves just to create a string. It's so ugly, I think they have a JSON library, but here it's just they are making a string construction. Actually, version 0.8 and above, you had to use something called string builder to do something simple like that. But now they added all those kind of templating language to allow you to simply put a dollar sign inside the string and it will automatically fill it for you. AngularJS style.
Yeah.
Okay, so
The fat arrow, which is what that arrow is from Ruby syntax.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how they declare methods.
Yes.
This.
It's a collection of things. If you see it first while, you will notice it's like Java.
Yeah, but if you recognize it from another language, you'll be like, yeah.
But it's so dynamic that it's not Java because you have a main function, you can write functions. In Java, everything is a class. It has types similar to Java, static and final, immediate imports. Yes.
Strings also.
Strings also.
Two strings.
And it's very beautiful. Like one thing that I noticed while writing code with it is if you use those things, it helps you sometimes in your code. So if you forget to set, and sometimes you set the names, and it's final. So let's say inside the method here, I just say okay, then names, and I'll put like names 10, and I'll set it to Hamid. It will tell me, sorry, but...
it will tell you at runtime, or it will tell you at compile
it
time?
should tell me actually now. No, I think the variables are not.
The list
So
is
like this, yeah, and like this it will tell me. I can change inside it. So if I tell it like names equal to Muhammad or names equal to an empty string like a list of Muhammad. So I think new list. It will immediately show or cannot be assigned a value. Okay, so it helps a bit. And if you have a large project, it helps a lot with the team. If you don't want someone to touch that variable or change it, so it helps in your project. Now we can go, yeah. So I think we covered everything. in that workflow. Do you have any other questions?
You guys have any questions?
I have a question about passing parameters.
Yes.
Can you scroll up a little bit?
Up.
Yes.
Okay.
One more.
Here.
Yes. Update badge. You are calling the method without passing the event. Is
No.
that okay?
Actually, I'm passing the method itself. So I'm passing the function as a callback. It's a bit.
He's basically passing the function pointer
Yes.
to that.
It's event driven.
So I'm telling him if something happened,
Call this one.
Like in
like if
dot
it's
listen.
if a click happens,
Mm.
call that method.
It's like set on click listen.
Okay.
So
actually
I'm
it's
passing
saying-
the method pointer, or sorry,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
function. So I'm passing the function pointer.
Literally, it means on the on-click event, the listener is this function.
Mm.
Yeah.
It will trigger this function. So here you're binding all the event listeners. It's event driven, like you're creating a GUI app. So in a GUI app, even in Java Swing, you would just say, on button click, this is the thing I want you to call, and then your program just sits back and waits. So it's the same thing here.
Yeah, there is I think a more advanced way of doing this also. And
It supports the anonymous inline functions like JavaScript.
sorry.
The anonymous functions in JavaScript, does it support it?
No.
Doesn't support.
No, thank God.
Nothing,
Those are very difficult to develop.
nothing with unknown tag is supported in that.
Good.
I told you, even zero is not false in that.
Yes,
Okay, it's not like JavaScript in
That's
every
what I'm getting
browser
used to.
that have an explanation for
Hey.
the false and
You
true.
need a chapter in the Java book just to explain the Boolean. What's false is not false, but it is false.
No, it does everything is as much as they can is clearly defined.
Very explicit.
Yes, it's very explicit on development side. On runtime, you can do whatever you like, just to get speed, more speed. Sorry. Yeah, I forget to speak about something. Okay, so with the new web environments, you have like Ajax style development. You want to do something on the background and wait for the response. Then, if the response comes back, you want to do something. The JavaScript way of doing things is that you pass methods. And you pass methods and you wait for that to happen. And inside those methods, you write your own logic. The Dart have a more abstract way of doing, I would say, or more like a structured way of doing things that helps you in simplifying that and make it more easy to deal with. And they use something called future. It's a special class, and it simply helps you in asynchronous tasks. You create a future, and you put whatever code you want inside that future, and you assume that this future will happen, and you will continue your life
Lazily calling
as
a function.
as it happened, and you will say if it happens and successfully happened, this is what's going to happen. If it fails, that's what's going to happen. So here simply the application loads all the pilot name from a JSON file. So there is an asynchronous task to load that JSON file to the application class, which is the pilot name. So what you want to do is that you want to for constructor to work, for this names list and applicant list to happen, you want to make sure that the JSON call is happening before you construct any name, right? So what do? You simply, once you load your application in the main here, you will say pilot names, ready the pilots. And then pilots, okay? So if pilots are available, now enable the input field and do everything, start the page. But first of all, I want you to ready the pilots. This ready the pilots return actually a future that do something else, that prepare, do the calls, do everything, do the preparation work required. And here there is a clear separation of your logic. So basically it's a class that means that something will happen in the future regardless of it. You don't need to know it. You just want to know your logic, your current logic. You want to input the field and do this and do that. Once the future happens, do that. Or if it fails, do something else. And that future, you define it in a simple static method called ready the pilots. And basically, it do an HTTP request, which is a factory method for a special future class called HTTP request that gets a string from a certain path. Then, and you are with that string, you are parsing that string from a JSON and getting those names and applicants populated after that string is passed, and then returning the future itself back to your main thread to do the remaining things. So you notice here, I'm creating a future, and once that future is created, I'm waiting for it to complete. Once that is completed, I'm calling a certain method. Then I'm passing that future, still it's there, exists, I'm returning it back to the main thread, and the main thread then is doing something else. And you can chain those effects together in every class or every place with its own logic. You don't need to worry about who's doing what. Consider it happened and write it between the then brackets, and that's it.
It's very similar to a lot of concepts. For example, in jQuery, you have the on image ready, and in Django, you have the lazy loading of things.
Yeah. Yes.
So, but this looks.
But here, it's actually a data structure. That means something is going to happen, and you can pass it around.
Is it thread safe? Is it thread safe?
I'm not sure about threading within Dart. I think it's a single thread so far. It has a work.
It's blocking, right? Well, it's not blocking.
It's actually a thread. Future is a thread itself.
It's a thread itself, right? So it's not blocking. And the page will show the spinner while it's working, right?
Yeah, if you run it, it will. My machine is so slow, so you will see how slow it is.
But they took the iOS or Objective-C stuff.
It's actually features are from Java.
Java.
Yes, I use them a lot. Okay, so you notice here, it takes some time to enable the. You don't see it here.
It's local.
Yeah. But it will take some time if you load it from an image. So for it to load the page itself, then call the JSON file to load it, and then it will allow you to enter any names or prepare.
Disable it this time.
But it's basically just a then, and I'm sure you can go back to the language reference, you will find a lot of explanation of that future class.
هذا آخر example كان. يعطيك العافية. في شيء
No, that's all.
يعطيك
It's
العافية.
more of everything in one place, much easier to do with.
الحين we'll have more discussions الحين. يعطيك العافية ما قصرت بالعمر.
Thank you for listening.
But as an addition, but now they are like rewriting the standards of the web to enable web applications to be full-fledged apps, not just something lighter or.
You don't
less
you don't need the workarounds that are always introduced in JavaScript. So you need this workaround to do this. You need this one. Plus, if you combine them together, it doesn't work. They don't work together.
Hey.
Sometimes libraries are conflicting with each other, battling each other. And now, no, there is also the package concept. So if someone wants to publish something, you will include it in your project. It doesn't need to be included in the page itself. And the certain parts that are required will be delivered in your project. So there is also another unique thing about that.
It's the package manager.
Yes. And there is also there is a full sorry. Called package manager. So there is a package manager called Pop. A lot of libraries that are published on a daily basis by different people for Dart. So anything you need in Dart, let's say, to do certain things, you will find a library for it, and they are constantly introducing.
Very active.
Very active. So you will see how much like observer. And most of Google projects on JavaScript are now moving to Dart. So AngularJS have a Dart version now. Polymer have a Dart version. So all of the main big JavaScript projects are all moving, and they say there is a Gmail version on Dart coming next. I think by next year we will have like February or April we will have Chrome built in. And no one will know that will come inside the Chrome. You know, Chrome is updated without asking.
You can enable Chrome in Chrome. There's a special switch. I'm not sure about it. Because I know that you can use the quick and speedy protocols using some switches. Flashing the Chrome content.
Only on the Canary, only on the development channel version. Not on the normal.
Chromium.
All on Chromium.
Let's use the last few minutes to land next week. What do you guys want us to talk about as a topic? And if any of you volunteers to give a talk, it will also be.
I think we need a talk from Bashar about Red Hat.
About how I stick the Firefox on the Apple.
About let's say OpenStack.
It's just admin talk. It didn't happen before, right?
No, didn't happen before. Something different.
It reminds me of Meetup. It's called like that framework JavaScript. Have you heard about it? Meetup.
Meteor?
Yeah, Meteor. It's not that sense.
It's replacing this type of workarounds. Have any of you used Meteor?
Meteor and CoffeeScript and things like that.
Meteor are still very powerful. Can give you solutions.
Like different browsers can update data at the same time. Yeah.
شفت الفكرة مالت Google Apps when you have two cursors to people editing the same document. You can do it with 5 lines. Maybe.
Those are Java.
You didn't see the other one? Mid-Giant training?
Like JavaScript platforms.
Huh?
Something like AngularJS. Like AngularJS has a similar way of updating, and it's currently written with JavaScript. But I'm sure people will have a part of it to that. And you can import it to that. Even JavaScript can be imported.
شنو تقسيمة اللانجويجز؟ هي ما شاء الله صاروا جروب موبايل ديفلوبرز. لازم نسمع منهم السيستم ادمنستريتور لازم نسمع منهم مرات مو كل نفس الجروب.
Make اسمه draw, we put names.
Or we can discuss it with the community.
Yeah.
We can discuss it with the community that we don't have something in mind. بس topics مثلا OpenStack ولا كذي.
Something related to web servers which really host the web applications which really I think could add the value. Like Apache, Cherokee, Nginx, these kind of things. Deployment of the
I can give my deployment talk. The advanced
We give it, yeah.
I gave a deployment talk before. Stack management.
It's about, I'm just suggesting, open computer vision. Any of you interested in computer vision? Okay.
I would like to hear about it.
Computer vision is the opposite of computer graphics. Showing graphics takes something real and puts it in digital.
Yeah.
Computer vision is how you take something digital and know what does it represent in the real world, which is not trivial, by the way.
Facial recognition, object recognition, this kind of thing. This is
Handwriting.
handwriting.
موبايل ديفلوبرز يلا اللي منكم يا اقتراح يا توك.
We should make it a rule. If you come to the meetings more than once, you are obligated to speak.
I think we should
People to run away.
keep it fun, because we don't want them to run away.
What do you want to know about mobile
شلون؟ ما ادري what do you have
What's the new
to
trend?
what do you have to
أنا أعتقد عبد الله ما
شلون؟ عبد الله شلون ما له
هو يسوي
عبد الله اكثر واحد يعطيك وقت ما شاء الله على شو اسمه اندرويد ستوديو على اندرويد
انا بشوف شلون رسمت بالاندرويد.
شلون؟
بشوف شلون رسم بالاندرويد.
ايه يعني تبي موبايل بس هم هني اوبن جي ال صح؟
كان بس كلاس و
اس في جي
SVG. They can give you workarounds in that area, caching, how to do caching, and maybe even features, how to use features in Android. They are beautiful. They help a lot.
انا بطلب كثير باللاب جافا دوكس قاعد.
So we can have either on mobile, systems management, deployments, or web. So pick one and then we'll roll it.
We should activate the community. The community, by the way, it looks kind of like a forum, really. بس نواف اللي رد علينا يوم حطينا. So we can openly discuss it. No, you can even vote or say, and we'll let you, we'll update you. الحين شلون الفورمات مال التوكس؟ يعني تبون نخليها كذي ساعتين ولا تبون نخليها مثلا ساعة توك ساعة سوالف discussion؟
على حسب التوك.
على حسب. اليوم كان عندنا دسم لا اليوم لازم طقة واحدة بس مرات ثانية مثلا يكون توك بس مجرد توك.
Yeah, maybe 10-15 minutes sometimes are really good. They just talk about something simple.
Okay, this is a good idea. If we want to get you started giving a talk, we do the
Bar camp style?
the thing we do when we don't have anything planned. خلي open شو اسمه what do we used to call it? Lightning talks.
Lightning talks.
Lightning talks. يلا كل واحد يبطل سايت ويعطينا
talk
5
about
دقائق.
anything you've done.
والباقي سؤال.
Okay, not anything, something you have to do slightly with technology.
Yes.
Not about food.
Like, guys, I went to the ministry and, they didn't do my paperwork. شباب when they watch that,
I can do a talk like for one thing, like we use a lot icons in your application. So I can do a talk. Where to get the best icons, how to do them.
I can do a talk on responsive UI, enterprise development, stuff like that, because we do that.
Okay.
Or project management.
Okay,
What's the challenges of big project management,
خلاص, why don't we make it official next week? Lightning talks. Not
Okay.
Lightning talks. Just show up. You can prepare something, or you can. If you have something planned, just send it to us before. We can at least announce it. If not, we'll have just open discussion, because we didn't have much time for open discussion.
What we can do is we can also discuss on the Arabic what we're going to do about that.
Actually, by that time, we should have already decided something.
Okay. So we can have it as one of those things where we can come in and we can have the next week as just Arabization. Okay? We come in, we don't need to set an agenda. Everyone can come in. The goal of the talk is, the goal of the 2 hours is, you have to contribute, either translate something to Arabic or add some Arabic content. And at the end of the talk, around this time, you just get up and you just say what you did. It could just be something as simple as that.
We can save this for the event itself.
Yeah.
On the 18th.
Yeah.
But
It's on the 18th?
Yeah, the event
Okay.
should be on the 18th. So we can have it. We plan for the event. على الأسبوعية إن شاء الله open discussions.
Inshallah.
Lightning talks.
Lightning talks. Burhan, go easy on the guys. They're still not speaking just because you told them not to speak in the beginning.
No, you know what happened in the last video that we did, because the camera was here. There was a discussion going on here, so you couldn't hear the presenter. All you heard was, because the mic is right here, so all you heard was like, and I was like, I was turning up the speaker on my.
What were they saying?
It's on YouTube. Go and check it out.
No, by the way, Stack Overflow poster. So if you can get high rank.
High ranking in Dart, yeah. Because you can get
Except Burhan, we should lock Burhan out for this.
what?
Google are bribing everyone to.
It's a sponsored tag when it has a logo.
Yeah.
So Chrome is there, Dart is there, Firefox is there, Drive is there as well, Android is there as well.
Yeah, App Engine.
App
And
Engine.
by the way, the Google developer relations team answer.
Yeah.
Google employees will answer you if you ask those guys. من هو